China Lesson 2, Dynasties and Ideas. Here is a video shot of our folder where students should have labeled their table of contents and added that last line there, China Lesson 2, Dynasties and Ideas. And then students will go to the next clean page in their folders here, where they will enter how have the teachings of Confucius impacted China. Notice that every student is to put their title at the top, China Lesson 2, Dynasties and Ideas, skip 4 or 5 lines, and then we start a vocab section. This is how we start every lesson here in class. Then we will go straight to the Lesson 2 page in our lesson today. The central question, how have the teachings of Confucius impacted China? Students will have a minute to write that into their folders. Then we will go to the vocab, and there's our vocab for this lesson. There's 9 words: lords, peasants, Confucius, ethics, Confucianism, philosophy, legalism, mandate, and mandate of heaven. Now I'm going to pull out each definition. I'm going to read each definition, give you a second to pause the tape to decide which word you think that definition matches, and then you can play the tape and see if you're right. So here we go. Let's start with the top one. Farmers with small farms. That one goes to peasants. Heaven's permission to rule China. Heaven's permission to rule China. That one belongs with mandate of heaven. As we go over each one of these, students are copying these into their folders. If you're at home and you missed today, you can copy all of this onto a separate sheet of notebook paper, like the piece of notebook paper I showed you in the folder, and then you can just bring that to school and put it in your folder. Next word, people of high social rank. That is lords. Moral values of right and wrong. If you have a high sense of ethics, that means you have a good sense of what's right and what's wrong. People with ethics are less likely to cheat. Authority to accomplish something. If somebody gives you authority and you can accomplish something in their name or by their authority, that's called a mandate. Hence, you've got the authority to accomplish something. When heaven gives a Chinese ruler the authority to rule, we call that the mandate of heaven. Next word. A certain way of thinking about life. A certain way of thinking about life. Well, Confucianism is one, legalism is one, and what they are 2 different philosophies or ways of thinking about life. The belief that people were bad and needed control. Well, the word belief should lead us to either Confucianism or legalism, because the ISM on the end of a word usually means the belief in something or the ideas of something. And then the rest of that definition is people were bad and needed controlled, so that's what legalism is. The ideas of Confucius, that's easy, that's Confucianism. And who exactly is Confucius? Confucius is the most influential teacher in Chinese history. So if you want to take a moment and copy those down onto your paper, you can do that, and you can bring that in with you when you come to school and put it right in your folder. Now, in our class, students will get this piece of paper here to take these notes on. And it's going to look like that. And I'm going to post that online, and you'll be able to download these notes at home if you want to print out a fresh copy and then fill it in along with us as we're going over it. So here we go. Students will pull this out. Moral values, ethics, doing what's right, family, order, social harmony. Does that sound like the who, the emphasis, the when, or the why of Confucianism? Well, we'll be reading through the book, and so students will discover that that is the emphasis of Confucianism. This emphasis is moral values, doing what's right, family, order, and social harmony. How about the blue one? The Zhou dynasty. Does that sound like the who, the when, or the why? That is the when. It was during the Zhou dynasty that Confucius lived and taught. People had become rude and dishonest. Well, that's either the who or the why. That is the why of Confucianism. That's why Confucius taught about moral ethics. And of course, who is the who of Confucianism? That would be Master Kong, or Confuci, or Confucius. So when students get that far, they can then go here and fill in their notes. Let's do the next set. No, let's take a break from that and take a piece of paper at home and number it 1 to whatever I get to. Let's find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Now this is a reading activity, and students are to fill in the blanks above with words from the word bank below. Now if you're at home, you can turn to page, you can try this first on your own. You can stop the tape right now and try this on your own. If you want to go straight to the book, you can turn to page 169, paragraph 2, and fill it in from the book. But try it on your own first, okay? Confucius felt that blank was overrun with blank and dishonest blank. So remember to read all the way across the blank, all the way across the blanks in a sentence when you do this. Look at the whole phrase, the whole sentence. All right? Well, we've already determined that Confucius felt that China was overrun with blank and dishonest blank. Blank and dishonest, well, dishonest what? Probably dishonest people. So they were dishonest. What else were they besides dishonest? They were rude. Rude and dishonest people. Next sentence. Upset by the blank and people's lack of decency, blank said that the Chinese needed to return to blank or moral values. Well, look at number 6 right off the bat. Number 6. We already said that we already have a definition of moral values, or a vocab word for moral values, and that's ethics. So we can put ethics there. Let's go back and see if we can fill in 4 and 5. Upset by the blank and people's lack of decency. So what negative word in here? Is it return, Confucius, roles, family, Confucianism, ideas, time, disorder, and thought? What word makes the most sense that would upset Confucius? Probably disorder and people's lack of decency. Blank said, who's talking? Confucius said that the Chinese needed to return to ethics or moral values. Now look at 7 and 8. The blank of Confucius are known as blank. Well, the return of Confucius, the roles of Confucius, the family of Confucius, none of those make sense. The Confucianism of Confucius, that doesn't make sense. The ideas of Confucius, well, that could be it. The time of Confucius or the thought of Confucius. The blank of Confucius are known. Well, because of the word are, we need something that's plural. So that leaves us with ideas of Confucius are known as what? And that's a vocab term, Confucianism. Confucius wanted China to blank to ideas and practices from a blank when people knew their proper blank in society. All right, let's fill that in. Confucius wanted China to, what makes most sense? Well, we need a verb there. Wanted China to return to ideas and practices from a blank, from a time when people knew their proper what? Roles, thought, or family. When they knew their proper roles in society. These are basic guidelines that Confucius blank would restore blank order and harmony. So, these are the basic guidelines that Confucius thought would restore family order and harmony. Did you get them all right? If you didn't, then you want to check it. It's on page 169, paragraph 2. All right, let's go to the next slide. And there are teachings of Confucianism. You can read that. Take a moment, pause the tape. You can read that. The main ideas are that people should be respectful, leaders should be kind, learning is a process, and heaven expects people to behave. And here are a couple of quotes from the textbook that Confucius wrote. There's 3 of them. You can read those if you want. There's your riddle. Why do Japanese men eat more rice, why do Chinese men eat more rice than Japanese men? You're going to have to come to school to find out the answer to that riddle. Okay, now let's do Taoism. This is the next set in the notes. See? Taoism right here. Next set in the notes. Okay, sorry about that confusion there. Let's pull one of these out and see which it matches. We're looking for the who, the emphasis, the when, and the why. Is that the who? Zhou dynasty. Is that the who, the emphasis, the when, or the why? Well, that would be the when. When did Taoism arrive? It was during the Zhou dynasty. Next one. Live in harmony with the Tao, and the Tao is the guiding force of all reality. Balance of opposites, worship nature. Does that sound like who, emphasis, or why? That is our emphasis. How about this one? Believe people did not need active, involved government leaders. Just let us flow like water. That's the why of Taoism. That's why this man, Lao Tzu, came up with the concept of Taoism, because he didn't believe that people needed active, involved government leaders. He believed that people could just flow like water and everything would be fine. Okay, here's another one. Go ahead and take a moment if you want and number a piece of paper again to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay, can you see all that? Let me make it like that. There you go. Now underneath that circle is the page number where you can find these paragraphs. I'm going to leave that blank for now. I'm not going to show you that. Take a moment, pause the tape, and see if you can fill in list the answers 1 through 13. All right, here we go. Taoism taught that something is a balance of something. Female and blank, light and blank, low and high. Well, let's take a look at 3 and 4 and knock out the two phrases there right now. Female and what's the opposite of female? Well, that would be male. So number 3 is male. Light and blank. What's the opposite of light? That's dark. So number 4 is dark. Low and high. Now let's back up. What is male and female, light and dark, low and high? Well, those are a balance. A balance of what? A balance of opposites. Now, what is a balance of opposites? Let's look at what's left. We've got Tao, important, nature, forces, human, harmony, worship, natural, universe, and humans. Okay, well, we can't tell for sure. It could the Tao be a balance? Could the universe be a balance? Could nature, could nature be a balance? Those are all possibilities. So let's leave number 1 blank for now. In each case, opposing blank, looking at 5, should be in blank. So, opposing what? Well, male, female, light, dark, low, high, what are those? Those are opposing nature, opposing harmony, opposing universe, opposing humans, opposing forces. Here we go. Opposing forces should be in, what do we have left? We've got Tao, nature, important, humans, human, universe, worshipped, harmony. Harmony. Opposing forces should be in harmony. While Confucianism focused its followers' attention on the blank world, Taoists paid more attention to the other world, or other blank. So what do you suppose we have in here? Confucian paid more attention on which world? Well, we've got natural world, and we've got, let's see, human world. Which is which? Okay, Confucianism talked about relations and harmony between people. So Confucius was focused on the human world, while Taoists paid more attention to the natural world. Taoists regarded blank as just a part of blank, not better than any other thing. Okay? Now, what are we regarding? We're regarding humans as just a part of nature, not better than any other thing. In time, the blank, as represented by nature, so what's represented by nature? The Tao. As represented by nature, became so, look what we have left, worshipped, important, and universe. What belongs in number 12? Important. To the Taoists, that they worshipped it. Now we have number 1 left, and the only word left fits. The universe is a balance of opposites. Okay, if you got totally confused on that, check it with paragraph 4 and 5 on page 170. Okay, our last section is legalism. So let's finish up the notes. Let's pull out one of these boxes and match it up. People could not be trusted to act right, Confucianism, or just flow, Taoism. Now what is that? Is that the who, the emphasis, the when, or the why? Well, that's the why. People could not be trusted to act right. That's what Confucianism said they should do, just act right. Or could they be trusted to just flow, as in Taoism? That's why legalism came about. And this is the emphasis on legalism. People needed to be strictly controlled by strong government, strict laws, and group punishment. That was legalism's emphasis. Let's see if we can pull out the who. This is the man's name that came up with legalism, Han Feizhi. And when was also during the Zhou dynasty. So you see, during the Zhou dynasty, you've got 3 major Chinese philosophies that developed. Let's go to the next slide. You can pause that if you want to fill in your notes. And that's it. Lesson 3 is next week. So that concludes our lesson. Thank you.